Today's episode is sponsored by Midwest Fire. For more than 20 years, Midwest Fire has been manufacturing high-quality tankers, tanker pumpers, and fire rescue vehicles in the United States and Canada. Keeping firefighters safe while enhancing their capabilities is what they do best. To learn more, go to MidwestFire.com.
This is Captain Tim Polbeck from the Sheboygan Fire Department, and you are listening to Dr. Richard Gassaway on SA Matters Radio. The SA Matters mission is simple. They want to help us see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes.
Hello, and welcome to episode 83 of the Situational Awareness Matters radio show. I'm your host, Rich Gassaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence environments. The SA Matters mission is simple: to help you see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes. I'm coming to you today from my office here in St. Paul, Minnesota. The SA Matters tour is on recess for the Thanksgiving holiday, and I'm off the road for 3 weeks. This hasn't happened since last February. I'm very excited to be able to spend some quality time with my family. My wife, not so excited. I think she's ready for me to be back on the road again. But I'm super excited to announce the release of my third book in the Situational Awareness Matters series. This book contains 30 lessons to improve first responder situational awareness and decision-making under stress. If you're interested in purchasing the book, or any of the books or videos that I have available, head over to the SAMatters.com website and click on the store link. If you've experienced or witnessed a near miss and would like to have a platform to share your lessons learned with others, please contact me by visiting the SAMatters.com site and clicking on the Contact Us link on the homepage. Think about this for a minute. The lessons learned from your near miss event could actually save the life of another first responder. If you want to share your experience, contact me. In today's episode, I'm interviewing live and in person Tager Schmittendorf, Deputy Fire and Coordinator for the Erie County Emergency Services. I'm discussing a near-miss event that he experienced at a water rescue incident where slow-moving water turned into swift water and resulted in a near-tragic outcome. Let's join in on my discussion with Tager Schmittendorf as he shares how this event unfolded.
I remember it well. It was January 24th, 1999. We had experienced some flooding in the area right alongside of our fire station. There was a road called Bennett Road in Route 5, the intersection right near our firehouse, that had flooded due to ice being on Big Sister Creek. We had a thaw, the ice melted, and then it jammed up behind the bridge, forcing the water over its banks and down the roadway. There was probably 3 to 4 foot of water in the roadway.
Is this something that ever happened before?
Yes, it actually happens often during the winter or in the spring for kind of a spring thaw when there's still ice on the creek. Mm-hmm. So they had evacuated several residents out of their homes, mostly as a precaution, but the water was rising significantly. And in the house, just one house off the corner from this intersection, we had a report that there were 2 mothers and 3 infants under the age of 1 that needed to be pulled out of a second-floor apartment. So our fire company had a water rescue team at the time, a typical Avon, hard-bottom rescue, whitewater rafting type vessel. And when we started from the station, we thought, well, it's just there at the corner. This shouldn't be a big deal. We can wade through the water, but we'll take the boat anyways. And so, not thinking too much of it, we're just in our bunker pants and nothing really equipment for any type of a water rescue appropriate to it. and I don't remember even if we had PFDs on or not. It was going to be a relatively simple snatch and grab type thing, and the water started getting a little deeper, so we got into the boat. We made our way over to this 2-story apartment building. I stepped out of the boat now into probably thigh-deep 32-degree water wearing bunker pants and bunker boots. So imagine my reaction. And myself and another firefighter went through the water, waded through the first floor of this apartment building, went up the stairs and told the mothers, get the babies ready. And when we hit the water, we're going to have to move fast because you're not going to be able to tolerate it for very long. So as they're getting the babies ready and they're gathering their things, the operator of the boat yells to us, "It's time to go." And apparently the water was rising, and also so was the current. So we get the moms carrying the babies, we get them down the stairs, make the plunge, so to speak, walking into the water. Now, mind you, they're not wearing any, protection on their legs or anything of that nature.
Right.
So they're instantly frozen, and we get them into the boat, and it's only probably, I don't even know, a matter of a couple hundred feet back to the intersection where it's ankle-deep water. And with this boat designed for swift water, with the motor wide open, we try to go that, short distance upstream, and the current takes us downstream, and we're no longer in control.
Oh, wow.
And we're operating a boat right over the top of the roadway, and we go probably 100 yards or better downstream, and try...
How many people in the boat now?
We now have 3 firefighters, the 2 moms, and the 3 infants.
Oh my gosh!
And it's getting pretty scary. And
is it day or night?
It's day.
Okay.
Middle of the afternoon.
All right. Well, you got that. You got the benefit of daylight.
Exactly. Yeah. And about a couple hundred yards down the road, the water went then back off the road and through a ditch area, and then back out to backyards, and then to, basically concurrent with where the creek was running also. And we tried to kind of ditch the boat to the right where it was getting shallow, and the current spun us. We bounced off a couple of, yellow painted concrete pylons alongside of the road. I tried to grab an overhead branch and just about got ripped out of the boat. And mind you, the operator has the motor wide open at this point, and we can't fight that current.
What's the horsepower on that motor?
I couldn't tell you.
Small motor?
Not real small. No,
okay.
It's not a trolling motor.
Okay.
It's a right. It's a motorboat motor designed for that hard bottom raft.
Yeah.
And ironically, we're going through a ditch between 2 houses, one of which is literally the house I grew up in. And so, we know the area, we know the terrain, we know where we're headed, and we're headed for open water. And I literally caught the last cherry tree in our old yard and wrapped my arms around it and put my hands together, and till such time that we could get a rope to somebody on shore. They held the boat. I now got out of the boat in chest-deep water, and of course we're unequipped with PFDs for the infants, and I grabbed the infants in their snowsuits and literally tossed them to somebody on shore. And I can tell you, that gentleman is now a deceased member of our department, but he could tell by the look on my face I'd probably never been that scared in my life. And quite appropriately, that was the last water rescue I did in my career. And I said, you know what, I'll fight fires every single day. You can't fight water. And it wasn't but sheer luck that got us through that situation. And after that, we didn't do any water rescues in that event. They came down the street with a payloader and cherry-picked people out of their homes and, got them to dry ground, and the boat was out of commission. But it was clearly a case where, despite the situational awareness that was presented to us, we underestimated both the depth of the water, the effect of the cold temperatures of the water, and the speed of the current.
Had you as a department did you all have swift water rescue training, different from just say like water rescue training, but actual swift water rescue training?
Not all of us did, but for example, the operator of the boat did. Myself and the other firefighter did not. But again, we thought it was something that we could handle with the way we were dressed, the resources we had, and it was going to be a quick, just in and out.
And the water current changed quickly too.
It did. Yeah, both the level of the water and the current changed. And imagine this isn't in a creek or river setting. This is on a roadway, and with ditches on both sides, and they're full, and the water is really, really flowing, and the situation got out of control very, very quickly.
So you got the kids out of the boat and tossed them to somebody in the shallow water.
Yeah.
You're all not out of this situation yet. So how does this end?
No.
I mean, where does it go from there? Because moms are still in the boat.
Moms are still on the boat, and again, like I'm in probably mid-chest level water, and I think somebody then tossed a rope to me, and we had the rope from the boat, and we basically pulled the boat into shore, which was simply in the yard of this house that I had grown up in, to dry land, and then got the moms and the other firefighters out of the boat. But I remember specifically, we went back to our station afterwards to kind of do a little after-action review, before they were popular to that extent, at least with us, and everybody was very honest about how and acknowledged just how woefully unprepared we were to be successful in that operation. Quite honestly, it was our ignorance or ignoring of the situational awareness that really put not only us but them in a precarious situation. Fortunately, it had a positive or at least neutral outcome, but it could have certainly been much, much worse.
But prior to getting yourself into the tight spot, if you were to be interviewed, say, the day before that event, would you have seen yourself as woefully underprepared, or would you have thought, no, we could probably do a rescue? Like if the day before somebody said, hey, if tomorrow this happened, how would you guys feel about doing that rescue? Would you have thought, we could probably do that okay, or would you have admitted the day before that you weren't quite ready?
Well, we certainly had the resources to be successful, meaning the suits to put on that were designed for doing that type of rescue.
But you didn't put them on?
No, we did not. We had traditional firefighter bunker pants and bunker boots.
So you had cold water suits?
We had cold water suits.
At the station?
At the station.
Where the boat was?
Yep.
But didn't put them on?
But didn't put them on. And like I said, I can't recall whether or not we even had PFDs on. I'd like to think that we did. And then we had PFDs for the moms. But
when it was done and you look back, did you kind of say, we should have probably put on the cold water suits before we jumped into the boat?
Oh, yeah.
And did you ever come to peace with yourself as to why you didn't? What were you thinking? Well, it's urgency. We've got to get it done now. There's no time to waste.
No.
What compelled you? I mean, you have the training. You've got the suits. The suits and the boat go together. What was driving you to jump in the boat? I'm not criticizing. I want the listeners to kind of understand the mindset behind how do smart firefighters get themselves into a tight spot when their suits are probably hanging on a hook next to the boat.
Right. And it was exactly that. And I myself was not swift water rescue trained at the time, but the water we started out in wasn't swift water either. It was standing water, So, and I think it was a situation where we both we underestimated both the depth of the water and then the increasing current.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it had been the day before, and I would have said, well, no, I definitely think we're capable of doing it. One, I would not have been one of the people doing it. I don't know why I volunteered or was voluntold, and don't recall which it was. My guess is it's probably volunteered.
Uh-huh.
I don't recall if the other firefighter that wasn't the operator was trained. I don't believe he was, at least in swiftwater rescue. And it was one of those situations, I think, initially where we just went to investigate, and thought to we'll walk the boat down and, the shallow, ankle-deep water, so the boat's at least floating and stuff like that. And then looked at the situation. I mean, quite honestly, there was no real urgency. They were on the second floor of a building that, I don't think was in any real risk of being swept away or, what you see in other events of major flooding and things of that nature. It was only a creek. It wasn't a river, or anything, or a dam break or anything of that nature.
Had you previously, had you been trained in the cold water suits and wearing those and using those?
Yes, to the extent of ice rescue.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it did it hit your mind that you should, when you did it hit your mind when you put your body in the 32-degree weather that the suit might have been a good idea? Or?
I think I had a sudden revelation.
yeah. But you were kind of like you never thought about turning and going back and putting the suits on. It was like we're on the mission now and get it done.
Yeah. And then especially when we got on the second floor and we're helping the moms, gather what they needed to and the babies and stuff, and the operator's yelling, "It's time to go." Well, it's a little late now.
Yeah.
That retrospect is a great tool.
Yeah.
But if you can survive it.
When you all got back to the station, what'd that conversation sound like? I mean, you all, at least you, who got out of were you the only one that got out of the boat?
My partner did.
Okay,
well.
Both of you did.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, it was thigh deep. It wasn't chest. Well, no. When we were actually at the end of the event, yes, I was the only one out in chest deep water. He stayed in the boat with the moms and was helping with pulling the boat in via the rope and stuff like that.
So they got to see the true look of fear in your face that this is a bad spot to be in.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
All right, so y'all pull out of it and you get back to the station. What's that conversation sound like as you're all doing your mini debrief of the event?
I think initially there was some reluctance to admit just how stupid it really, really was. But I remember specifically in the end that we all realized just how fortunate we were to survive that lesson. And, it definitely did lead to change in operations. I mean, for me personally, like I said, I never did another water rescue again or ice rescue or anything of that nature. Eventually we disbanded our water rescue unit because we had the equipment, but through attrition we had lost almost all of our qualified swift water rescue people until we were down to about one. And I was a chief officer at the time, and I think our chief at the time was the only remaining truly trained and qualified member. And we came to agreement that, that's certainly not a business segment that you can do half-assed, for lack of a better term. You either get into it or stay the heck out of it. And so we actually gave away all of our equipment to the department next door, which had already had a cache of equipment. Their station is located closer to the lake itself, so they're in a much closer ready response type situation for lake rescues are the majority of what they get called for, not so much those types of situations. Certainly not water going down a roadway rescue. Subsequently we've had several flooding events, not just in our own town, but in neighboring towns, and they go mutual aid and stuff like that. But they have a stable cadre of people who are adequately trained and prepare, and also, are participating in continuing education and training to keep their skill levels up, as well as now their equipment and resource capabilities are certainly more formidable than what we ever had in the first place. So we got out of the business lock, stock, and barrel, and it was, that takes some courage to get out of to admit that we shouldn't be in that piece of business of the fire service, and that there's people who are better equipped, better staffed, and better prepared to be safe and successful in that. I can tell you there was some pushback from some of our members, but in the long run, it was the right decision for everybody.
What would you say would be the lessons learned or the takeaways that a listener might have benefit from your close call? What advice would you give this, say, a department that's in the same position that your department was in at that time? Share your wisdom. What would you tell them?
Well, I'm not sure I have any wisdom to share with them. I have some really stupid human tricks to to share with them in that regard.
All right.
Yeah. Plain and simple, it was not a good move on our part, and I think that a lot of departments find themselves in situations that they're not necessarily adequately prepared for. We had the capability to be adequately prepared. We had the resources, and whether or not we had the right people there, I certainly wasn't the right person for it. But we may or may not have had actually trained and qualified water rescue people that should have been doing the job in the first place. Again, we had the protection systems. We didn't utilize them. Certainly, you could argue we would have been better off going in our street shoes and, whatever style of pants we were wearing than wearing heavy bunker pants and bunker boots that once they, got filled up just became, cement shoes, for lack of a better term. So, but I know so many firefighters and fire departments that when they find themselves in a situation are going to make a go, no-go decision that is largely based on, frankly, emotion more than necessarily fact and good common sense, because we all take this oath of a duty to act, and we're people of action. Would we have been better off not taking the boat with us and just wading through the water, and would the outcome have been different? Or if we had started down that path, maybe it would have caused us to actually turn around and go back, become adequately prepared with the right people, the right resources, the right protection systems, and to effect a safe and successful rescue. Hindsight is 2020.
You had other members who were trained in water rescue.
Oh, yeah.
Had they just not arrived to the station yet?
They could have been out on other assignments, non-related to water rescue, and we, instead of recalling them back to this location for this purpose, we took who we had and, like I said, started walking down the street with the boat, hit shallow water, set it down, so we then pulled it in the water, and then when it started to get a little deep, we decided to get in. When it got deeper, we... the operator put the motor down and actually, operated it. And like I said, I don't fully understand what went on, why that boat and its motor, the way they were sized for each other, wouldn't have had the capability to overcome this current. We didn't have rapids, we didn't have white caps, so to speak, but it was very swift-moving water. That part, to this day, I don't know why, we weren't successful in that endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
That would have certainly changed the outcomes considerably. Our intent was to simply turn around, go the couple hundred feet back to the intersection, probably get out of the boat in, again, ankle-deep water, and then, the moms and the babies get out, and everybody goes on with their day. But it didn't turn out that way, and it could have really turned out far worse.
Yeah.
And it's, something I live with today, just the potential of how it could have turned out.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God it didn't turn out.
Yeah, right.
I don't know that I could have lived with that.
Yeah, luck was on your side.
No.
If you had that baby in your arms and your feet got swept out from underneath of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I don't even want to think about it.
No, and it could have been as simply as, slipping on now a water-trodden embankment that's not designed as a creek bank. It's designed as the side of somebody's yard.
Yeah, right.
Right. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So, no, it was scary, and it was only, we got lucky.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I like to have a lot more than luck to rely on.
Yeah. Well, I think
back
we've all had our opportunities to be involved in incidents that only after the fact we realize that luck was on our side more than preparation or skill or
performance.
Performance. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I've not had a water rescue near miss shared before, so this will be a unique one for our listeners, and not everybody would find themselves in need of a swiftwater rescue team. But as you indicated, this didn't start as a swiftwater incident. This just started as a flooding incident where the water was not of current or speed or pace, and I think anybody could find themselves in a situation where a creek bed would overflow and you'd have this problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then certainly if we were going into the creek to do a rescue, I never would have ventured in that direction.
Right.
But this is a roadway that hours before that was dry pavement, and the area, and literally it was the the road I grew up on, and
right to the front door of an apartment building.
Of an apartment building,
yeah,
which is in line of sight, and hey, it's right there. We can just run over there, and for all we knew, we probably initially thought we were just going to walk them out.
Yeah, right.
So. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, and thanks for the opportunity to share it, and hopefully somebody doesn't make the same mistakes we did.
Thank you, Tiger, for sharing your swift water close call event and the lessons that you learned from it. Before I close out today's episode, I want to take a moment to thank the departments and organizations that have hosted recent Situational Awareness Matters tour stops. Your efforts to bring this valuable and powerful training on situational awareness and high-risk, high-consequence decision-making to your members and to others in your region are greatly appreciated. The Lake County Fire Chiefs Association in Ohio, the Managerial Association of Emergency Services in Bradenton, Florida, and Northport, Florida, the International Association of Fire Chiefs Volunteer and Combination Officers Section Symposium in the Sun in Clearwater Beach, Florida, the International Association of Fire Chiefs Company Officer Leadership Symposium in Dallas, Texas. If you're interested in attending an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters tour stop, you can find us on December 1st at the M-STEP Conference in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, December 5 and 6 at the Scott Township Fire Department in Evansville, Indiana, December 8th at the International Association of Fire Chiefs Company Officer Development Symposium in Phoenix, Arizona, December 14th at the SBM Fire Department in Spring Lake Park, Minnesota, January 5 and 6 at the Savage Fire Department in Savage, Minnesota, January 8th to 10th, the Utah Winter Fire School in St. George, Utah, January 13th, the University of North Carolina, Charlotte Fire and Emergency Services Leadership Institute, January 16th, the Iosco County Firefighters Association in East Tawas, Michigan, and January 23rd to 24th at the South Carolina Firefighters Association's Winter Safety Symposium in Columbia, South Carolina. If you're interested in attending an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters tour stop, head over to the SA Matters website and click on the blue box on the right side that says Upcoming Event Schedule. Here's hoping there's a tour stop near you and we'll get a chance to meet up. If you're interested in hosting a Situational Awareness Matters tour stop program in 2016 for your department or your association or your region, contact me through the website and we'll get something set up for you. If you're not a member of the SA Matters community of learners yet, please consider joining. There are over 5,000 members connected on the SAMatters.com website, sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness, how to make better decisions under stress, and how to train members to be critical thinkers and resilient problem solvers. Membership is free, and when you sign up, you receive a special report that I've created for the new members called 25 Best Practices for Improving First Responder Safety. If you're not a member yet, head over to the SA Matters website and click on the red box on the right side of the homepage that says Free Membership. As a reminder, every episode of the SA Matters radio show has a corresponding show notes page on the SA Matters website. The most recent episodes scroll on the homepage, but for older episodes, go to SAMatters.com / and then enter the episode number, which I always mention at the start of each show. So, for example, if you want to access episode 60, open up your internet browser, go to www.samatters.com / 60, and that'll take you to the page that contains a link for that episode. The show notes page contains additional information and resources about the episode, and depending on who the guest is, we may also have incident scene pictures, video, and audio, and contact information for our guest. You can also leave your questions and your feedback on the show notes page. If you want to get connected with me on social media, you can follow @RichGasaway or @SAMatters on Twitter. The SA Matters Twitter community has more than 16,000 followers on our mission on Twitter. And for all of you, thank you for being connected with me there. You can also get connected with me on Periscope by following @RichGasaway, and you'll receive information and notifications about upcoming live video presentations on Periscope. You can also get connected on Facebook by joining the SA Matters private Facebook page. To do that, go to facebook.com /groups /SA Matters. I've got a really good discount running for the group members on the private Facebook page. There's a discount code there where you can get 50% off on my most recent book, SA Matters Volume 3. So there's a good incentive to join the private Facebook group. On LinkedIn, you can also find me by searching Rich Gasaway, and thanks to everybody who's connected with me on Facebook and LinkedIn. I really appreciate your support of my mission there, too. If you like the show, please consider going over to iTunes or Stitcher Radio and subscribing. Search for SA Matters Radio on iTunes or Stitcher. Please consider leaving some feedback for me there. And if you like the show, give it a 5-star review. Not only will that motivate me to work harder for you, but it also helps others to find the show. Well, that's it. Episode 83 is complete. Thanks again to my guest, Tiger Schmittendorf. Thank you to our sponsor, Midwest Fire. Thanks to all of our live event hosts. And thank you, our listeners, for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I really appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. Be safe out there, and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters radio show with Dr. Richard B. Gasaway. If you are interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit SAMatters.com. If you are interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for an upcoming event, visit his personal website at richgasaway.com.